Hello and welcome back. How are all of you doing today? We have some big news today. Big news. So strap in and let's get this show on the road. So, um, real quick, China is panicking over the Strait of Hormuz being closed. This is big for them because that's where they get most of their oil from. Then we have the fact that Iran is struggling to keep most of their boats afloat. And best of all, Glitch Productions just released a new trailer for episode 8. We're not going to be covering that, but I just thought you should know. Anywho, let's get right into it. Right now, China is panicking because it gets almost half of its oil through the Strait of Hormuz, about 5 to 4 million barrels per day. And right now, Iran is keeping that closed, threatening any ships that pass through there. Now then, as to what the Strait of Hormuz is, let's pull this up really quick. Yoink. Yeah, so the Strait of Hormuz borders on Iran and UAE and Oman. Let's see. Yeah, so we can see that the Strait of Hormuz is about 100 miles long, and at its narrowest point, it's about 20 miles wide, though it widens up to about 60 miles later on. Yeah, so the 100 miles long part makes it very, very difficult to protect all the ships there. Shipping is down about 90 to 94% from what it was a week ago. Now then, some ships are sneaking through. They're turning off their transponders and sneaking through at night. That way they're able to still get through there. And it's not guaranteed safety, but it's a lot safer than passing through during the day with their transponders on. This makes it much harder for the terrorists to find them and attack them. Up next, China is kind of upset at Iran because they keep attacking ships that are carrying cargo and oil. And here we see China presses Iran to keep Hormuz open as Asian buyers brace for LNG shortfalls. Basically, having the Strait of Hormuz closed is terrible news for China that gets most of, or almost half of its oil from the Strait of Hormuz, as while the United States only gets about zero point 0.5 million barrels per day from the Strait of Hormuz, which only makes up about 7% of its crude oil. Yeah, so China is going to be suffering most of the damage here. But USA is not unaffected as prices already have begun to rise. We've seen, I think it's 90 cent per gallon increase on average for US gas. In fact, I was just driving around today and saw the prices have shot up. So hopefully everyone was able to get their gas before these prices started going up. Got a little bit more gas today. Just because I'm expecting gas to increase again. I highly doubt this is the last time that gas will increase during the course of this conflict. So if you're watching this, if you see this, if you didn't gas up sooner, gas up now if you can. That would be my advice to you because it's just going to get more expensive. Now then, my cat joins me. She smells bad. Why do you smell bad? What is it? Get up here. Hello. My cat joining us now. Say hello, cat. Yeah, so go get your gas. Don't run out. Gas is going to get really expensive. Now, gas and oil aren't the only thing that runs through the Hormuz Strait. It's also food and water, vital grains. Again, China relies on more of this from the Strait of Hormuz than we do. However, this affects a lot of Asian countries. This includes Japan as well. Japan gets about 90% of their oil from the Strait of Hormuz. So, as much as China is suffering, Japan and some of our other Asian allies might be suffering even more. Now, obviously, we want to end this quickly. However, Iran does have its own defenses, and it's a the fact that they have so many drones and missiles is a part of the reason why we are going in when we are, because if we would wait for them to come to us, then they would have had amassed many more missiles and drones and have been better prepared to defend themselves if and when the time came for them to start launching missiles on our own soil. And we have Marco Rubio. I'm just going to cover a bit of him. We're not going to go over the whole 13 minutes.
Questions about why we knew that and didn't act. Going back to the purpose. The purpose of this is to destroy that missile capability. Why does Iran want that ballistic missile capability? What they are trying to do and have been trying to do for a very long time is build a conventional weapons capability as a shield where they can hide behind. Meaning, there would come a point where they have so many conventional missiles, so many drones, and it can inflict so much damage that no one can do anything about their nuclear program. That is what they were trying to do, is put themselves in a place of immunity where the damage they could inflict on the region would be so high that no one can do anything about their nuclear program or their nuclear ambitions.
So that's a large part of the reason why here, why now. And these are the Shahed drones, Shahed 136, and the main problem with dealing with these is that they're cheap and they can be mass produced easily. I'll let him talk for a bit.
This one in particular they rely on for several reasons. One, compared to a missile, which requires a great big launch platform that can be targeted and taken out, and then the missiles are no longer useful. This can be launched from the back of a truck, from the middle of a field, from a boat, compared to a missile, which requires a big production facility, which also can be targeted and destroyed.
That also makes it a lot more mobile, a lot more flexible in their military procedures and what they can do, their capabilities.
These can be made in many covert locations all over that are hard to track down, and compared to a missile, which will cost at least $1 million, sometimes several million, this is cheap, only about $20,000 per unit.
So that's kind of the problem with those. And he also covered how we were able to capture some and then reproduce it and make it better, improve upon it. And as they were saying earlier, their tactic here was that they would build up so many of these drones that it would not be so easy to go in and take them out while they finish their nuclear missiles, their nuclear bombs, and their long-range ballistic missiles. You can get up here. I covered a bit of this on my past video. And then Trump is offering aid. He offered the Navy's help in safeguarding ships as they cross the Strait of Hormuz. But there is some bad news as well, because the Navy might not have, or I would say definitely does not have enough ships to cover the whole 100 miles of passage there. They don't have the capabilities right now, not with the current forces we have over there. We have about 8 or 9 ships over there that would not be nearly enough to help all the ships cross. But it was suggested that perhaps our own Navy would be used to protect our own flagships to get across the Strait of Hormuz. So it's a bit of bad news, but not all bad. And then some good news is we destroyed apparently about 30 of their ships over the course of this war. So Iran is having a little bit of trouble here keeping their boats afloat. Can't read this, at least I can't, because I'm not subscribed. I'm not going to subscribe to every single newspaper. But yeah, this says it all. U.S. military has destroyed more than 40 Iranian warships. Their boats just don't seem to float like they used to. So that's some good news. Let's see how many. And then some bad news. They got the Abraham Lincoln carrier destroyed in a game called War Thunder. So a lot of these fake AI videos have been going around, or sometimes not even AI, just from video games, saying that Iran has destroyed our ships and whatnot. But they're either fake and AI generated, or they're from a game called War Thunder. I tried finding the original footage. It could be that because they're fake and propaganda, they're being removed or something. I could not find it if my life depended on it. But yes, Iran is destroying so many of our ships in a game called War Thunder. Devastating news. Very sad. Video game simulation. Footage from the military simulation game War Thunder was shared as real combat, even being reposted and later deleted. Okay, later deleted, that's why I can't find it. By high-profile officials. Yeah, so that's a thing that's not happening. But what actually has been happening is, let's see, as of March 6, 2026, the United States has not reported the loss of any ships during the current conflict with Iran, known as Operation Epic Fury. So that's what's actually happening. And then we have this right here. We have this amazing advertisement right here. We have this right now. Is this before? Oh yeah, we can see that. Oh, nice. There, let me play that again for you. Oh my gosh, that is devastating. Absolutely devastating. Yeah. So oh, that's what. Iran will not be liking that. Again, they just can't seem to keep their boats afloat. And here we see the IDF, 6 Iranian ballistic missile launchers dismantled before launches toward Israel. The Israel Defense Force announced Friday that the Israel Air Force dismantled 6 Iranian ballistic missile launchers just minutes before they were intended to be launched toward Israel on Thursday. So great job by them. I also heard that Lebanon is finally taking care of Hezbollah. They're trying to get rid of them. They're taking their missile launchers away. For far too long, Lebanon has done nothing about the Hezbollah threat, the Hezbollah terrorist, and they're finally doing something about it. So that is fantastic. And more good news. Let's see. So we also get to see that Iran seems to be running out of missiles, seems to be running out of drones. Here we have a quick breakdown. Day 1, 350. Day 2, 175. 120, 50, 40, 32, 28, 15. Those are the number of missiles shot per day. Then the drone swarms. Now remember, the drone swarm means multiple drones in that swarm, not how many individual drones there were. There were nearly 300 on day 1. Day 2, it actually kicked up to 541, dropped to 200, 85, 45, 38, 30, and on day 8, they only had 12 missiles, drone swarms. So while it doesn't prove that Iran is running out of missiles or drones, it does heavily imply that they're running out of missiles and drones. So again, more good news that maybe this operation, this conflict is winding down. This is what I want to show. There we go. Iran's one-way attack drones are down 73%. And that is a big deal because that's the main threat right there, are the drones, because they're so cheap, they're so easy to reproduce that, and they can be anywhere just about. So that is one of our bigger threats. Now the missiles can launch much further and do a lot more damage if they hit, but swarms of drones are again, just much more flexible in this kind of combat. So we're really looking to get rid of all of their drones. And then Trump was very nice, very courteous. He invited Iran to surrender.
And I'm once again calling on all members of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the military, and the police to lay down their arms. They're only going to be killed. And now is the time to stand up for the Iranian people and help take back your country. You're going to have a chance after all these years to take back your country. Accept immunity. We'll give you immunity.
Okay, so you can see he not only asked them to surrender, but he also offers them complete and total immunity, which is, I mean, that's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal for them. You lay down your arms, you get immunity. However, it does look like Iran does not want to do that. Here we go. Araghchi also rejected the idea of a ceasefire or new talks with the Trump administration, saying Iran was not asking for a ceasefire. He also denied any behind-the-scenes contact with U.S. officials to end the war. He's also saying that that they're ready for a ground invasion. Yada yada yada. Oh, and then this is interesting right here. So Trump suggests a surrender and offers them immunity. They say no. And then this right here is interesting. Going back real quick to possibility of a regime change. And I said this on an earlier video that they were thinking of getting Reza Pahlavi back in leadership. And now we see a video from him.
The Iranian people have called on me to lead the transition after the regime is gone. I have accepted that responsibility.
Okay, so kind of what I was saying earlier, there was no talk of any specific regime change, saying that the Iranians should be free to choose for themselves, and they should be. And at least according to him, he's saying the Iranian people have chosen him. Now, I don't know if that's true. I just think it's at least a little odd that everyone was speculating that the government wanted this guy back. Keep forgetting how to say his name. Reza. They kept speculating that they wanted Reza back, and now the Iranian people do want him back. Now, it could just be that things were better under him. I don't know. Now, I don't know if the government had anything to do with it. I don't know if we'll ever know if the government had anything to do with it. I'm just saying, I called it. Nailed this one from orbit. So, yeah, this was speculated. Well, I mean, I wasn't the first to call. I heard other people saying it, and then I just rehashed it. But you get the point. I couldn't find any news saying that was the case earlier, but now that seems to be the case, and we're getting news. I just kind of want to finish up with this, because a lot of times with this war, some people will resort just to race wars and saying, oh, we're going after them because they don't like the Iranians. I don't think that's true. Or, oh, they're going after them because they're brown, they're not white, etc., etc. But I have this video here. This has nothing to do with race. It shouldn't be about race. The Iranian people were greatly oppressed and repressed and abused and horribly tortured by the regime. And even here, again, kind of just to reiterate the point, this has nothing to do with race at all. So we have kind of this debate between Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch, where Keir Starmer condemns the attack. However, Kemi has a slightly different approach and philosophy on it.
Prevent the situation spiralling further and support a return to diplomacy. It is the best way to protect British interests and British lives. That is what this government is doing. And I commend this statement to the House.
On Saturday, our allies, the United States and Israel, took targeted action against the Iranian regime. A regime which for decades has been brutally repressing its own citizens, whose leader had the blood of hundreds of thousands of Iranians on his hands and of countless others around the world killed by Iranian proxies. This regime is the world's foremost sponsor of international terrorism. It seeks to annihilate the world's only Jewish state. It has said so repeatedly, and we should take despots at their word. It is a regime whose apparatchiks chant death to Britain. It has attacked British nationals and conducted multiple plots on British soil, as the head of MI5 has warned. And it continues to try to develop nuclear weapons in flagrant violation of international agreement, nuclear weapons which, if obtained, would be an existential threat for this country. The outcome of Ayatollah Khamenei's death will, we hope, be a safer Middle East and a safer world. with the future of Iran back in the hands of the Iranian people. On Saturday, our allies in Canada and Australia immediately backed the action taken by America against this despotic regime in Tehran. And I have made it very clear that the Conservative Party also stands behind America taking this necessary action against state-sponsored terror. But over the weekend, statements from the government and the Prime Minister provided no such clarity. It was only last night that the Prime Minister finally told us that the government would allow our allies the use of our own air bases.
So again, this has nothing to do with race, nothing to do with brown people versus white people or anything like that. Iran is a serious threat to all the world, and many people are realizing this more and more. And I want to leave it there just about, but one quick thing, and again, a reminder as to who we're fighting and why we're fighting. This is a statement from the Ayatollah right here. And let's go to this. It is not permissible to have with one's wife before she has reached 9 years of age, be it permanent or temporary marriage. So, in other words, afterwards, fair game. 9 years. But then he goes on. But there is no problem with all other pleasures, with such as lustful touch, embracing, kissing, and I don't know, rubbing. Oh my, I might have to censor that. Oh wow. Rubbing one's against their thighs, even if the wife is still a baby being breastfed. This is sick. This is what the regime practices and believes. This is what the Ayatollah believed and posted. This is sick. This is what the Iranians were suffering under. So again, I don't celebrate death or chaos or injuries or anything like that. I hope that this war ends soon. I never would have wished it. But I can and am and will be happy for the Iranian people who are now free from this. I pray for their safety. I pray for those who have whose lives have ended during this and their loved ones. And I hope they are safe. But again, I am happy that these people are free from this, because this is sick. And just one last thing. Because this has been dark, and let's just lighten the mood a little. Is Markiplier in danger from this snake, Tofu? I might have to censor the music.
And death.
He still doesn't. Oh my God! Did you?
I think Markiplier's days are numbered. This had nothing to do with today's video. I just thought it was a silly little video. Markiplier, stay safe out there. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, maybe consider liking, subscribing, sharing, doing a celebratory backflip. I don't know. But whatever you do, have a wonderful day. Sayonara later, and goodbye.